Good morning, everyone. Seems like we're having a Facebook issue for some reason. Give me just 1 second to solve that. And we will get with it. Don't know why we're having a Facebook issue, but hey, you never know what's going to happen. Unable to connect. You never know what's going to happen. That's what it amounts to. Let's try this. Sending some data. We're sending data. Thanks everyone for sticking with me, being patient. Oh, there it goes. Boom. Easy. Easy peasy. I don't know why it was messed up, but it was. Good. All right, we're here with our Facebook friends too. We're here on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope. In person if you want to come stand outside my door. Wherever you want to watch this, I try to make it available for you. All right. Today, we're going to talk about comps and bonuses. So this was inspired by something that I saw PartyPoker was doing, which I thought was an insane value. Essentially, they're having five million guarantees this year, I believe. I might be slightly wrong on the specifics. But 5 $10,000 buy-in tournaments. And if you play all 5 of them, PartyPoker is going to give you a 10,000 pound buy-in tournament next year in early 2020. So basically, you buy in for $50K, and they give you $15,000 in equity. Maybe it's more. I don't know how much a pound is worth. Who knows what a pound will be worth by then? But if it's 1.5x, that is 15% ROI. No, 30% ROI. Right? You put in 50 and you get 15 for free. 30% ROI right off the top. That is significant. Most live tournament players are happy with 30% ROI in big tournaments. And then on top of that, these tournaments are going to have guaranteed roughly 500 people or more, which, that means a lot of those must be satellite players. And we've already discussed how satellite players are typically playing way bigger than they should, which leads to them making suboptimal decisions, etc., etc. So, your ROI in the first tournaments is going to be reasonable. Maybe, let's say it's 30% right off the top there, and then you're going to get a bonus 30%. So that's 60% ROI. That is an insane bonus. You do not see things like that very often at all. It's just, PartyPoker is working hard to get your action. They want your loyalty. They want to show that they are there to better the poker community. So, how do you do it? What if you normally play only $1,000 buy-in tournaments? But here you need to figure out a way to get into all these 10Ks. Well, the easy solution is to sell at even money in all the 10Ks, right? Go play them all, sell at even money. Maybe sell at like 0.95, right? Sell at a discount. If you're actually a good winning player in $1,000 games, reasonably high stakes, and you have a good track record, if you go and you play these events, you sell a bunch of action. I'm sure there will be plenty of backing groups out there willing to buy action of actual good players who are just taking advantage of this. You go there, you play, whatever, you win or lose. Maybe you sell 80% of your action or something like that. You get five nice trips out of the deal. One of them's online, so you can go anywhere in the world for that one, almost. Not America, but almost anywhere in the world. And then you get to play that 15K for free. So imagine, you had to buy in for now $10,000, right? $2,000, $2,000, $2,000, $2,000, $2,000. And then at the end of the deal, you get $15,000 to play with. That is ridiculous and an insane value. So that is what I would do. If any of you out there actually have a decent track record, you're not a high stakes player yet, but if you play $500 or $1,000 buy-in tournaments live, or if you play, even $50 or $100 tournaments online, you are definitely qualified to play those tournaments in terms of a skill level. But you may be lacking bankroll, and I get it. Everyone doesn't have, $3 million bankroll to play these things. But say you did have, I don't even know. Say you had like 25K to your name. It might be worth it to invest 10 of it to play those tournaments. Two times 5. You can even sell 85 or 90% of yourself. Who cares? Sell 90% of yourself. That's fine. You're still going to play like it's for real. It means you're putting in 5K out of your 25K bankroll. Maybe you have to spend like 5K on expenses, so don't forget that. So if 10K of your 25K bankroll goes away, But in exchange for that, you get $15,000 in equity. And then in that 15K that you get for free, you could sell action out of that, right? Sell that at 0.95 as well. You could sell 80% at 0.95 and get, I don't even know what the math is. Let's call it $12,000. So you put in 5, maybe 10 after expenses. You get back 12. And you get to go play poker across the world in prestigious events. And maybe get lucky and you crack one of those off, and then next thing you know, you're doing well. Of course, you only have 10 or 15% of yourself, but 15% of $1 million is 150K, right? That's what I would do if I was a young aspiring poker player. You'd be silly not to. Okay, so this is not just a shameless promotion of Party Poker. They're not paying me to say any of this. I just thought it was... anytime I see just completely free money out there for people who are small and mid-stakes grinders, I try to give it to you because it is well worth collecting. And this is actually like a really good one. It's not like sit at home and grind all day. It's get up, go on a vacation, play a prestigious event, and have a chance to dramatically improve your life. So that's about as easy as it comes to. It's what you would do if you were not married and have kids. Yeah, I mean, that's my one issue. I'm not sure if I'm going to go to the first one in March in South America. There's a chance I do because it's such a good value. Amy doesn't know that yet. But it's a very, very good offer, right? Fortunately for me, I'm in a spot in life where I don't have to go collect that free 15K, but I understand, like, if I was a young player with 25K bankroll or 20K bankroll, I would make that happen in a heartbeat. You don't have to even be a young player if you're just a player, right? Who would buy a piece of a player who doesn't have a proven track record? Not very smart people. This is an idea if you already are an experienced player, right? Like say you play $50 or $100 tournaments online, then that's certainly a person who could have a 20 or 25K bankroll and be very skilled, but not have the bankroll for it, right? Or say you're playing $1,000 live tournaments, say you've had a few 100K scores, give or take. And, whatever, bills, life, etc. If you've already have a proven track record, you'll be fine. But yes, you need to prove yourself first. Are there any stats to these tournaments? Yes, infinite satellites, which is why, again, it's going to be super soft, right? How often does a pro cash in online tournaments? I don't know. It depends on the pro, right? You can do various things to allow yourself to cash more or less. Usually as you try to cash more, your win rate will go down. Cashing is not the key to success. All right, back to comps. Let's talk about regular comps. Most normal comp in the poker world is food, right? People will give you free food in some form. If you go to play at Aria, let's say, in Vegas, you swipe your card, and they give you some amount of dollars on your card per hour. Usually it's not a lot. Maybe at $2 an hour, give or take. But if you sit there and you play every day, that's $16 a day for 8 hours of play, right? So say you go and you play for 8 hours a day, you get $16. Each week, that's, $100, right? So every week, you get to go out for a nice meal for 2, or maybe 1, depending on how hard you go. And that's reasonable, right? Maybe that's a nice perk for your significant other. If they're annoyed that you play 40 hours of poker each week, you get to take them to a nice dinner every week. Or if you're just a reasonable person, you go and you get yourself a sandwich each day and it's free. And that kind of thing adds up, right? Like imagine you just didn't have to pay for a third of your meals. That's a significant cost. Let's say you spend $5,000 on food each year. Well, that's a free $1,700, give or take. $1,700 is a lot. So that's easy. Usually, almost all casinos give some form of that. In tournaments you play, they often give you a food voucher. Make sure you take advantage of that. I know at the EPT stops, they used to not give any type of food comp, but they did have like a little voucher type thing that were just sitting out. Anybody could take them. I remember in Barcelona, they had a little voucher that had 4 coupons to 4 restaurants in the area. And the coupons were like €6 for an amazing spread of fresh seafood caught right off the coast of Barcelona. And I was like, yeah, thank you. So I remember going to this one place like every day and just had a gigantic spread of food for €6 or €8. It was amazing. There's another crepe place that's almost free as well. Whereas the normal price would be like 20 or 30 euros for the same meal. So it's probably like their cost or something like that. And that's sweet. So make sure you look for things like that. How do poker players get room comps? Well, that's where we're going to go next. So take advantage of whatever food comps are available. Usually it's not that hard to find them. They're pretty out in the open about that. All right, poker room rates. Quite often for tournament series, casinos will have a poker rate. Very often on their tournaments schedule, there'll be some phone number at the bottom to call for rooms, comps, etc., and call them and see what the deal is. Like, I know, for example, like Beau Rivage in Biloxi. My parents go there to play. They have tournament series every few months, and whenever you go there for the tournament series, you can get like a $50 a night room or something like that. I don't know the exact price, but a much cheaper room than normal. Say it's normally $200, you get it for $50. A lot of poker rates are like $100 a day, which is perfectly fine. Oops, that's for later. Where did we go? 1 second, everyone, bear with me. All right. Atlantic City gives food and room comps. Yeah, most reasonable casinos give food and room comps. And it's just a matter of knowing who to talk to. Quite often, the tournament director will know who to direct you to. Often, the person in charge is not the tournament director, some sort of host or manager of the poker room or something like that. So try to get room comps. Those are very, very beneficial. In 2018, at a casino, you average 45 hours, $45 per hour, 2.5. Is that good? Yeah. 10 big blinds per hour is great. Now just make that 2,000 hours. What's 2,000 hours times 50? 100K, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's 100K. Okay. Next, travel. Now we're starting to talk about for the big ballers. Quite often you're not going to get any sort of travel expenses paid for poker tournaments. However, if you gamble, you may be able to get very sweet deals. Now, I am definitely going to say you do not need to go gamble and try to purely to get comps or anything like that. There are, however, a few places where it does make a lot of sense. However, this is for actual professionals out there who are very disciplined. Those who do not have gambling problems. Those who can control themselves. And what I mean by this is, let's say there are some places in the Caribbean or some places in Vegas that are very nice and very expensive. And if you want to be staying in a nice place, sometimes it makes sense to play there, especially if they don't give any sort of poker comp or if their poker comps are marginal. So what you can do is you can go and realize, okay, no, I know I'm going to spend $300 a day on my stay for 10 days. That's $3,000. You can actually figure out what your expected loss is at a lot of games if you play well and disciplined. Make sure you play well and disciplined, know what that means. Quite often it is betting very big for a short period of time. And if you bet very big for a short period of time, sometimes you're going to run hot, and then you're going to be betting really, really, really big for a short period of time. And quite often the casinos will think that you're going to do that forever. You know you're not. So let's say you're going to lose $3,000. Let's say you could lose $3,000 expected. That actually means you can go there and quote unquote have like $30,000 to play with. Understanding the amount you're going to be betting. Sometimes you're going to lose the 30K. Sometimes you're going to win the 30K. Sometimes you can win 150K. Make sure you know that your losses are going to be capped. Maybe 30K is not even the right number for you. Maybe like 5K is the right number, or 10K is the right number. Then you may not be able to play enough or big enough to get the full amount of comps. But if you are disciplined about this, it's a very good way to get comps at places that are exorbitantly expensive, that also do not give poker costs. And a lot of major tournament series do go to high-end casinos, right? They're catering to high-end people who like to gamble. So that is something that I've definitely utilized in the past. Not nearly as much anymore, because now most places do have pretty good poker rates. And I mean, like if you can go and stay at a really nice hotel for $100 or even $200 a night when the normal rate is $500 a night, understand that is it worth it to try to gamble hard to get that $200 a night or $100 a night taken care of? And the answer to that is certainly no. Quite often, poker room comps will not combine with like gambling comps. They keep them separate. So that is relevant. Oh, I just saw. I have a new push notification. Check raise bluffing on the river. That's the blog post for this week. Every Monday, for those who do not know, I write a new blog post on jonathanlittlepoker.com. You can sign up for push notifications, and they go right to your computer. I just had a little pop-up right down there. It said, come read check raise bluffing on the river. All right. What next? A lot of casinos have various bonuses in-game. I know one time we went to Biloxi with my parents when I was young, and they had some bonus where if you had aces and they lost, if your aces get cracked, the worst thing that can happen to you, if that happens, they would give you like $100 or something like that. And my mom was playing, I think, 3-6 limit hold'em. And on the river board was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 diamonds. My mom had aces with no diamond. She's like, okay, I guess I'm going to fold. And then her neighbor next to her said, oh, don't fold, call for $6 more. Because if you call, you lose $6 more. You're going to lose, but you get $100. She's like, oh, thank you. She was not aware of that promotion. Maybe they didn't announce it. Maybe she wasn't paying attention. I don't know. But either way, that's significant, right? Imagine she was going to fold out for $6 more, like a good fold. She obviously loses. But by putting in $6, she gets 100. Clearly, that's a good deal. So make sure you understand stuff like that. Some places have high hand jackpots. Usually it's obvious when you're getting the high hand, though, so it's not something you actually have to go for. And you should not actively go for it. Some people say things like, oh, they have a huge bad beat jackpot where if you get a straight flush and it loses to a royal flush, you get $1 billion. I mean, yes, but that's just not going to happen. Your odds of that are apparently not 1 billion to 1. So you should not be playing the 5-2 suited to try to make that nut type of hand. It's just not worth it. So don't go for that. Also make sure they're not taking additional rake for the bonuses that they are giving. Sometimes when they have a high hand bonus, they take an extra dollar rake from everyone. That's awful for no limit hold'em players if they're combined with limit hold'em players, because think about why, right? You see the river way more often in limit hold'em than you do in no limit hold'em because of the way the betting works. Everyone's priced in. So no limit hold'em players lose a lot of that bonus money to limit hold'em players. So keep that in mind. I don't think anyone combines PLO and no limit hold'em, but if they do, obviously that's silly too, because PLO you see way more showdowns and you make way more nut hands. All right, let's see. You want a seat to in Las Vegas to NHC. I don't know what that is. Well, good luck. You sign up for the free trial to pokercoaching.com today. Make sure you do that. Use the other resources. You got enamored by Weekly Poker Hand. Well, good. Yes, Weekly Poker Hand is great. It's a weekly podcast I do. You can find it at jonathanlittlepoker.com/WPH. You use programs like Flopzilla if you mastered that kind of stuff. I consult it every once in a while. I'm usually pretty good at it. I use my float to turn range analyzer a lot for the inner circle or for the poker coaching challenges. But I roughly know how to do it myself. While it is good to have a computer break it down for you, it's also important to know how to do it yourself so you can do it in game. Just finished mastering small stakes and no limit hold'em. Great. So today is an Inner Circle webinar. For those who don't know, the Inner Circle is a group of people who I meet with every 2 weeks, and we discuss a specific topic. One they tell me to discuss. I usually discuss it for about 30 minutes or so. And then I have a call-in session where they can call in and ask me their questions live. You can find information for that at pokercoaching.com/inner circle. And one of their questions I thought was really good, and that is, what's the difference between 15 big blind play and 25 big blind play? So I had this already pulled up because I was looking at it before this morning's class. You all can't see this on Instagram, sorry. But if you're watching this on the other channels, you'll see this right here we have pulled up is a 15 big blind GTO strategy from the small blind when they fold to you for 15 big blinds. As you see, you're either limping or jamming. There is no min raising. There is no 3 big blind raising. Those plays are all suboptimal to this strategy. The hands in black are all in. Hands in red. Hands in black are limp. Hands in red are all in. You see there's a lot of limping. I've been discussing limping strategies for a long time. A lot of people don't limp their pocket aces. They don't limp their ace-jack suited. They don't limp their ace-6 suited because they are afraid of getting outdrawn. But in reality, that is the GTO play. You're going to find very often the GTO strategies with shallow stacks are to jam the offsuit good cards. Like you see ace-king offsuits jammed and ace-10 offsuits jammed. And then you see the middle suited cards are being jammed because those hands are not dominated by the calling range of the big blind, right? Calling range of the big blind is going to be a lot of big stuff. So if you're under it, you're going to have solid 40% equity a lot of the time. So take a look at that chart, memorize it. Now compare this to a 25 big blind chart, which I have right here. And you see it's completely different. Now, you're very rarely going all in, only with 1.8% of hands. But you're doing a lot of 3.3 big blind raising off a 25 big blind stack. And you see now you're just doing it with a lot of good hands and then a lot of hands with blockers that have some playability, like Jack X suited, 10X suited, 9X suited. And this is interesting, right? You're still doing a lot of limping. And you're doing a lot of limping. I think that's something a lot of people don't understand. They think that they should be shoving or folding with everything. And I mean, it's easy to play a shove or fold strategy, but very often it's not ideal. So if you do blindly follow a shove or fold chart, you're going to be leaving money on the table. A lot of people don't realize that. Usually a shove or fold chart is great if you have about 10 big blinds or less. If you have more than that, though, it's almost always bad to use. I mean, I know on my push-fold app, the FTT, or float-the-turn push-fold app, it has shove ranges up to 20 big blinds, and there are times where you could use that. But you see, just like perfect GTO is already limping a lot from the small blind when they fold you, right? Which means if you're only shoving, you're leaving money on the table. So do not use push-fold charts when you have more than like 10 or 15 big blinds. I thought about this because, they were asking do we use Flopzilla, and some, but not a ton. Also, strategies from the button get really, really different, right? From the button, for example, GTO strategy for 15 big blinds has you limping about 12 of hands, I believe, is something like that. So if you're supposed to limp 12% of hands, should you limp 12% of hands? This is another interesting concept. Quite often, if you remove that option completely, how does it affect your overall EV? And the answer is if you just never open limp and instead min raise or shove or fold, you have almost the same expectation compared to if you limp, min raise, shove, or fold. And by taking away that option, you win almost the same amount of money, except for your strategy gets a million times easier to implement. And if you know anything about pokercoaching.com, I'm not teaching everyone to be playing one hand 62% of the time one way and another way 20% of the time and the other way 18% of the time. That's ridiculous and impossible for you all to implement. We teach a strategy that is easy to implement. And there's a lot of power in that. Just knowing how to play, not perfect GTO, but knowing how to play very close to it. What program is this? These were generated using PioSolver and Munker Solver. Let's see. If you have a problem with my program, send an email to support@pokercoaching.com. It's always the answer. I'm a poker apostle. Thanks for being such a fantastic ambassador. I do my best. Listen, I realize everyone starts somewhere and you are always trying to progress to the top. When I started, I had $50 to my name. Well, I guess I had more because I had a $10 an hour job. I deposited $50 on PartyPoker back in 2003. And I was just a kid with a dream, right? And I ran it up. And along the way up, I studied a lot. I made a point to collect all of my comps, which again was the point of this discussion today. And it's very beneficial. Hello from Las Vegas. Looking forward to the Inner Circle webinar today. Oh, it's a good one. Like I said, we're going to be discussing differences between 15 big blind strategies and 25 big blind strategies from a few positions. We're not going to go through every single position because that would take forever. But we're going to go through a few common spots just to show differences so that everyone will know how to be adjusting. And again, you can get access to that at pokercoaching.com/inner circle. That starts in 37 minutes. It's a busy, busy morning for me. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say about comps. For those who are not here right off the bat, PartyPoker is doing a promotion where if you play the 5 $10,000 buy-in tournaments that they have over the next year, they will give you a free 10,000 pound buy-in in 2020. And if I was a young person with, let's say, 20 or 25K to my name, and I had a decent track record, I would be selling action to all of those 5Ks. Or sorry, all the 10Ks. I'd sell like 80% of my action, maybe 90% of my action. Then I would have that entire 15K buy-in in 2020 that I just own all of, which you could then turn around and sell. If you missed that discussion, go back to the very beginning of this. You can watch it as soon as we're done. This will be on YouTube. It'll be on Periscope. It'll be on Twitter. It'll be on Instagram. It'll be on Twitch, etc. And that's just completely free money for all of you. And not only is it free money, it also is 6 shots to win life-changing money and to travel the world and to see great things, right? It's a heck of an opportunity PartyPoker is giving all of you. All you have to do is do a little bit of legwork to make it happen. And then for pros like myself, it's just a sweet deal too because you get a free 30% ROI, right? So you would be absolutely silly to not go and play. All right, what else? You love my books. Good, I love my books too. I try to do good work on the books. Those charts I just showed you are from a book I'm working on with Michael Acevedo coming out soon called Modern Poker Theory. It's going to be a good one. A really good one. Maybe the best one. Like of all poker books, it literally may be the best poker book. We showed it to a few super high stakes players, and some of them said, do not publish this because it will ruin the game. Some of them said, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Because it compiles all the standard spots that you need to know. Good morning from Stockholm. No, I'm not sure what you mean by updated sites. Do I have a YouTube channel? Yes. I post all sorts of videos on YouTube, something at least twice a week, maybe more often. You can find that at youtube.com/floattheturn. FLOATTHETURN. As you see, everyone here, or a lot of people here, are watching on YouTube. Louis Philippe, good morning. How long before that book is ready? Like I said, it'll be available in summer 2019, as far as I know. Michael's still working on the final chapter, the post-flop chapter, which may be a doozy. Pre-flop chapter was 200 pages long. It's a little bit big, but hey, we'll make it work. I'm trying to think if there are any other comps you need to be trying to collect. Just make sure you get the obvious ones, right? Make sure you get your free food. Make sure you get your room rates. I mean, imagine you go and you play 5 poker trips a year for 10 days each, and you get to save $200 per day on food. I'm sorry, on a food and room, which may be the case if you're like going to a high-end place. That's $200 times 10. That's $2,000 a trip. That's $10,000 a year. You know how many poker players break even and they would be thrilled to make $10,000 a year? A lot. What do we think about short deck hold'em? Wow, everyone loves the short deck hold'em, yet no one plays it. I think that it's a novelty game, kind of like mixed games or PLO. These are all games that people thought would take over. Some people thought would take over. People thought PLO would take over because it's more of a gambling game, which is true. People thought mixed games would take over because they're more of a skill game and there's more different skills you have to learn. Funny, 2 different spectrums, right? In reality, though, none of these games have taken over. Sure, they're fun. Sure, they're neat. But if you're in someone's shoes like my own shoes, and I know I'm not going to play much short deck hold'em even if I'm presented it. Imagine I played like every high stakes tournament I possibly could get in. It's going to be like 5 or 10 a year. Is it worth it to spend the next year of my life learning this game to play 5 or 10 tournaments a year? And the answer is obviously no. So if you have all the time in the world, if you love the game, feel free to give it a try. But if you had to ask me, would you better spend your time on No Limit Hold'em or on any of those other games? I would tell you No Limit Hold'em is way better because it's obviously not going anywhere and it's going to be around forever. Let's see. How long for Float the Turn and poker coaching improvements? We already made a decent amount of them, but we're going to have big changes coming soon. We've been working on the back end a lot, and that's exciting. Very, very exciting. I think a lot of people don't quite realize that a penny saved really is a penny earned, and, well, all things dealing with money. I mean, for example, whenever you have your coffee in the morning, right? Let's say you have 2 options. You can go to your local coffee shop and pay $5 for your coffee, or you can brew your own coffee at home for, I don't know how much a cup of coffee costs. It has to be like 50 cents, right? If you do that every day, 365 days, what's 365 times, let's say, 4? $1,200? Is that right? How many people could use an extra $1,200 each year? Most people would take the free $1,200. That said, though, this is where it becomes really interesting. Imagine it takes you 5 minutes to make that cup of coffee at home. What if your expected hourly rate is $100 an hour? That means it costs you, what, 12 bucks? Is that right? Let's say it costs you $12 to make that coffee at home. But if you go to the store and you can order on an application on your phone and walk right in and pick it up with no delays, that might be the better play, right? That said, maybe you enjoy making that coffee at home by yourself. Maybe you enjoy the process of grinding the beans and pushing it through the filter, etc., etc. And then what's that worth? Maybe what's happiness worth? Happiness is worth a lot. So it's not quite as easy as how much does it cost. It's not quite as easy as what is my time worth. Happiness is relevant as well. And whenever you travel to play poker, maybe you find that you really don't like staying in not so nice places. So you're willing to pay for it. You may find that you don't really care about staying in nice places. One thing I found that I don't really care about, I don't care about flying first class, for example. Yes, it's nice. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's sweet. But is it worth an extra $500 per flight? Let's say we make 20 flights per year, and it's $500 each. That's $10,000. Would I rather have $10,000, or would I rather have slightly bigger seats, right? Some people say slightly bigger seats. Some people don't. That doesn't mean one is right or wrong, but it's important to consider the differences. Maybe you find that if you fly first class, you get a good sleep. You wake up, you feel refreshed, you're good to go. It's like taking a nap. Maybe you fly back in coach, It's not nearly as good. Oh, we have a baby. Speaking of happiness, Evie, babies are nothing but expensive and a time suck. But look how nice they are. They bring you happiness. What's the happiness worth of a baby? Can you say hello, Thomas? Thomas is as big now at 1 month old as Mr. James was when he was 3 months old. Thomas is a big boy. Look at that pretty baby face. Look at that pretty baby face. This is Thomas, but he's nice. We love him. Happiness EV is through the roof. Dollar EV is in the dumpster. Time EV is in the dumpster. But we love our baby. Wouldn't trade him for anything. My wife's here too. She's a time suck as well, but I wouldn't trade her for anything either. She makes me so happy. Family is very important. Don't forget that. Thank you. Do you say bye? Bye. Oh, what a good baby. Let's see. You're really enjoying my book. Do you have any time for a quick hand review? It was a pre-flop shove. If it's pre-flop shove, just do the math yourself. Tuning into tells or neutralize their position. Do you care more about tells or neutralizing their position? What do you need to do to watch the webinar today? Go to pokercoaching.com/inner circle. We do those every 2 weeks. If you sign up, you can go back and watch all the archives. We've done a bunch of strategy sessions. They're like 30-minute talks on specific topics that the students have asked for, right? And we've covered all sorts of things, like, well, really everything. And lots of technical things, too. I understand a little coffee is not very nuts and bolts technical how to play poker well, because I'm not sharing my screen with half of you here who are on Instagram, and it makes it hard to do that kind of thing. But like today, we have lots of charts, we have lots of graphs, and it's very beneficial. Do I play online poker? Yes. Every time I go out of America, I play a pretty decent amount. Last time I went out of town, out of the country, was a heartbreaker. I took 8th place in a $500 tournament. Bad beat. To be fair, I only got to play like 1 day. Whenever you play 1 day and you take 8th place in a tournament, I guess you have to be happy. What's my one-on-one rate? I really have not been doing a lot of one-on-one coaching recently, purposefully. I send almost all of the people who come to me for one-on-one coaching to Alex Fitzgerald or Matt Affleck. They are often more affordable than me, and also they have, I guess, more time than me, because I'm busy making products for lots of people. I'd much rather help 10,000 people at a time than one. That said, hourly rate's $500 an hour, but I do turn down or send elsewhere 80% of the people. Do I plan on teaching my kids to play poker? I plan on teaching my kids to play lots and lots and lots of games. Brian Walsh, you need to just type the hand instead of asking me questions about, can you ask me about this hand? Just type it, and if I answer, I answer. If I don't, I don't. All right, you qualified for the WPT Borgata. Any recommendations on adjustments to the field? People at Borgata tend to be a little bit egotistical. They don't like being pushed around, so that should lead you to bluff a little bit less often. They want to show how macho they are very often. I don't know why that's something that happens in this region. And when people want to be macho, if you can emasculate them a bit, it's quite powerful. It'll make them tilt off their stacks like crazy. You always have to ask, what does my opponent really not want to have happen? And then do it to them. All right. Trying to see the link to the Inner Circle webinar. You see the recordings. It's there. Hurry and send an email to support@pokercoaching.com. Maybe we'll get to you, but it should be on the left-hand side under Inner Circle webinars or something like that. Also on your dashboard, if you're an Inner Circle member, it should be available. But I mean, really, Dave, if you want to seat to the WPT, and it's coming up any day now, I don't know exactly when it starts. I'm not going because I have that little baby I just showed you. But just go and play your best at this point. Study as much as you can the poker coaching quizzes between now and then. There are a lot of hands taken straight from Borgata that I've made quizzes from. Straight from 3,500s at Borgata. I know I've had a few deep runs there. I think last time I played there, I took like 20th or something. That was another heartbreaker. Could have won the WPT, third one, but instead took 20th place. Go study those. That will be at least a good starting point. It'll give you something to do over the next day or two that doesn't take a ton of time. You can go through all the quizzes in 2 days if you feel like it, if you really want to grind it. And that'll be very beneficial. So yeah, good job qualifying, and you might as well win. Good old New Jersey ego. Maybe that's what it is. I've only seen fights break out in exactly one casino, and it was Borgata. I've seen 2 sets of guys get in a fight and 1 set of ladies get in a fight. Don't know why. It's just how it happens. Oh, goodness. What else do we need to say? We have a video, or we have an article, Check Raise Bluffing on the River, that came out today on my blog, jonathanlittlepoker.com/blog. Don't know if you all are aware of it, but every single week for the last 3 or 4 years now, I posted a blog post at jonathanlittlepoker.com, Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern time it comes out. I don't know why, but I take pride. I don't take pride in a lot of things, but I take pride in the fact that I get the work done well and consistently. I think a lot of people have a really hard time doing either things well or consistently. A lot of people are good at putting out 1 or 2 things every year, and a lot of people are good at putting out junk every week. But I try to put out good work consistently, and I think that's maybe that's why a lot of you like me. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I've been doing it for I think 4 years now. Ever since I listened to a podcast by Pat Flynn called the Smart Passive Income Podcast. If you want to work hard and a lot and make no passive income, listen to that podcast because he will teach you how to do all of those things. He'll also teach you how to make passive income. But the idea is if you put out lots and lots of good work on a regular basis, people will find it, they will appreciate your work, and they will reward you. Like this stream right here, right? To be fair, this is easy and fun. It takes me 2 minutes to prepare each day, right? I write down some notes. Then I talk about the notes, and usually it's about whatever's on my mind, right? I saw the free Party Poker $15,000 post. Like, oh my God, this is offer of the lifetime. I got to tell everyone about it. Let's talk about comps. Easy, right? So this is nice and easy. It does take time. We've been here 37 minutes. We do it 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. But I think you all appreciate it, and this thing gets many thousands of views each day, so that's good. All right. Anyway, you have to ask yourself. First off, do you want to better other people's lives? Maybe you don't care. And then also, do you mind doing the work? Do you mind being consistent? Do you mind doing good work? I mean, I guess to be fair, I could do this better. I could prepare for 15 minutes. But winging it's fun. Winging it's fun because it helps you present live in an impromptu manner. Like, I mean, whenever I'm at the World Series of Poker signing books at the D&B booth, very often people will come and ask me a question, and instead of just bumbling on about how I can't figure it out because I have no time, we have experience, right? We have experience answering all of your questions. You find I'm playing a lot fewer tournaments. Oh, wait. Let's see. Do you find that playing a lot fewer tournaments has affected when you do play a live tournament? I feel like I'm more focused and I play better as if every tournament matters more. That doesn't mean tighter or anything like that. I mean, WPT Montreal, I basically called off with a bluff catcher for all the money to bust in, I think, 8th place, right? So clearly I don't care about going broke or anything like that, but I feel like I'm more focused, and I feel like I do care more about every individual event, whereas before, you just shoot it in there because who cares, you can play another one tomorrow. At what point in my career did you learn the most and why? I don't know. Most useful skills were probably whenever I learned to play sit and goes on Party Poker a long time ago, because I learned how to play final table structures very well. If you learn how to play final table structures and you make final tables, well, that's going to be very beneficial compared to if you don't know how to play final table structures and you don't know how to play them well, right? So then all you have to do is start making some final tables, and fortunately I did that, and we're good to go. What strategies are most efficient for short stacks at final tables? Well, learn to play short stack strategy, right? Understand, strategies are different as stacks get deeper. It's very, very, very important to understand that. Just because you know how to play quote-unquote no-limit hold'em does not mean you know how to play 20 big blind no-limit hold'em compared to deep stack no-limit hold'em. What do you love the most? Obviously, my family. What else? Is there any other answer besides your family? Brainwash, I don't know if you're trolling me or not now. You keep saying, what would you have called in this spot? I don't know. You sure better type it. Otherwise, we're going to pack it up and go. I have to prepare for the Inner Circle webinar that starts in just a minute. Someone wants to see the WPT bracelets behind me. We have 2 of these. Here's the other one. These are World Poker Tour bracelets. As you see, they're from Tiffany & Company. How cute. They have a little tiny diamond. I think they're made of metal. Kind of a weird design. It's not like a World Series of Poker bracelet or something like that. It's just all gold. I don't have any World Series of Poker bracelets. We have a Bellagio bracelet. These things are worth, well, their weight in gold because it is solid gold. I say solid gold. I think it's 23 karat gold. I won this in 2009. Oh, the good old days. If I ever go broke, we have $5,000 sitting there. Apparently that's what you could buy them for. Someone lost theirs when they were trying to rebuy it, and they realized the guy said it was worth $5,000. He's like, what? What? All right. Brainwash. I am so not seeing this hand you typed. How do you not beat yourself up based on results? Well, results are irrelevant. You say you bubbled recently. I mean, it happens. Play a lot of tournaments. Play hundreds and hundreds and thousands of tournaments. If you play hundreds and thousands of tournaments, the result of any individual one will not matter. Of course, if you're playing poorly, then yes, you should be annoyed at yourself. I typically only get annoyed whenever I make a mistake. I don't really care if I get unlucky. That's just normal. It's important to understand when you get lucky and when you get unlucky. Some people think that they played poorly when in reality they got unlucky. Some people think they're unlucky when in reality they play poorly. It's important to be able to assess the difference. How do you learn to assess the difference? You play a lot of tournaments, right? I think a lot of people think they're supposed to make a fold anytime they don't have the nuts when their opponent has the nuts. That's just not right. Like the time I bubbled in Montreal a few months ago. I had top pair. My opponent went bet jam. Very loose aggressive player. I only had top pair bluff catching kicker. I had ace jack. I think the board was like queen 10 3 4. No, queen 10 3 ace 4 or something like that. So I lost, I think, like king jack or something like that, and I also lost all the two pairs. But we blocked the king jack because we had ace jack. Queen 10 3 ace 4. I think that's what it was. And he had pocket threes, so he had to set. So, was I unlucky, or did I play poorly? It's one of the two, that's for sure. Perhaps I played poorly. Maybe I'm supposed to fold the river. Maybe he actually doesn't bluff me there on the river. Who knows? But I am pretty sure it's just unlucky. So it's okay. Does it feel good to call off for all of your chips on the bubble with a bluff catcher? Well, on the bubble. It wasn't a bubble. We're down to 8 people. Does it feel good to make that call? No. Do you second guess yourself? Maybe. But realize it's okay. I think I keep calling this guy Brainwash. B-R-A-I. How do you spell brain? B-R-A-B-R-I-A-N. Brian is how you spell Brian. Your name's Brian. Brian Walsh. Brian. Type in your hand. If you type in your hand, I'll go over it. If you don't, I'm not going to go over it. You commend me for my efforts. I'm an OG. Does that mean an old guy? I am an old guy at this point. We're an old man. We're so old we rely on our coffee each morning to wake up and get moving. I'm an old man. So yeah, collect your comps. Collect your free money from PartyPoker. A long time ago, there was actually this, what was it? It was an iPhone or an iPad app that allowed you to play slot machines for free, but you could win real money. And I won, I think, about $5,000 off the program. It's completely free. And they had this, basically it was a tournament setting. So all you do to make it to where you maximized the amount of money you won, well, not the amount of money you won, the least amount of time you spent was just press bet max always. So you'd bet maximum until you won until you either went broke or you spun it up and you had infinite chips. So I ended up winning a lot of tournaments. I never took like second or third or fourth, but I won a lot. And it was completely free. I made $5,000. I know that lots of people who read that blog post made a few $1,000 before the site ended up closing down. And it was completely free money, right? Could you imagine how much value that is for someone who just has a phone, has no bankroll, but they could just make a free $1,000 if they read the post that Jonathan Little says, bet max like Jonathan Little says, put their phone, they look at it every hour, they press bet maximum, and they forget about it. Get a free $1,000 a month. Easiest game in the world, right? And This party poker thing's just like that. All you have to do is sell the action, which is a bit of a hassle. Book some flights, collect your free $15,000. Easy game. Don't be afraid to do the work. Then again, a lot of people don't want to do any work to make $15,000. I don't know why you wouldn't, but hey, you might as well. In the heat of battle, things are not always black and white, not always luck versus skill. Obviously, no one said it was. And it doesn't matter. Fortunately, it just doesn't matter. OG means an original gangster. I don't know if I'm all that original, and I'm certainly not a gangster. Maybe I'm a gangster. I don't know. Let's see. You play a wild 1-3 game where people gamble, and it goes 4 to 6 way all in. Pre-flop bingo style. Why do people like calling poker bingo? It's not bingo. You have a huge skill edge. A huge skill edge. Because the variance is huge, what would you say is a proper bankroll for this game? Well, you have a few options, right? You can play shallow stacks, which is probably the best play. If everyone's all in pre-flop every time, buy in for the minimum. Have people getting it all in with hands that are just not that good, and you get it all in with hands that do well in multi-way situations, right? So it's quote-unquote bingo, but if you get it all in 4 ways and you're going to win 30% of the time, you're printing money. It's as free as it can be, right? You're supposed to win 25%, but you're going to win 30%. That's not bingo. That's just people paying you tons of money to sit there. So don't think of it the wrong way, right? Understand that, yes, you're going to have variance, but that's fine. So in terms of games like that, then yeah, the variance is going to be high. So let's say you buy in for 100, and you know you're going to quit when you get to like 400, so you have to go double or quadruple run time. I don't know. You probably need 50 or 100 buy-ins, give or take, depending on your edge. All right, you have 20 big blinds with queens on the button. You raise to 8 big blinds. Why do that? Why not just min raise? Definitely GTOs to min raise, I can tell you that. Flop comes ace, king, 5. Check, check, you fold on the turn. Keep in mind this is at the final table. Don't open for 8 big blinds. Bingo players are great for poker. They are. Absolutely, they're great for poker. WT deep stacks. You have a nice stack of a lot of big blinds, 70. You have 2 diamonds in middle position. I don't know where the rest of this hand is. Pavlos, you only typed in half the hand. Trying to see on TV, are those guys, they always play it down, or are they chopping sometimes off camera? I mean, I've never chopped when I played on a TV final table. I've been at 3 WPT heads-up matches in my life. We won 2, we lost 1. And they were all for $500,000 or more, and there was never a chop even discussed. Clinton says, people don't understand how big of an edge 5% is. Yeah, it's huge. What was the party poker thing I was recommending? Well, try. I'm about to end this, so go back and watch the beginning. If you want a free $15,000 for a little bit of legwork, assuming you're qualified, go collect it. Pavlos, this is a horrible hand history. I'm not even going to answer it. Go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/notes and record the hand properly. Ask it again on Wednesday. Dave says 5% edge over a small sample size is basically negligible. Well, stop playing a small sample. Obviously, you need to play a big sample. Right? That's just obvious. Poker is a long-term game. Poker is not I lost this one hand, this is terrible for me. Put in 5,000 flips. 5,000 flips with 30% equity. Flips. 5,000 flips 4 ways with 30% equity. See how much you win or lose on average. You're going to be crushing them. Edward says he loves my content. Well, thank you. In my eyes, I qualify as being a gangster. Maybe I don't understand what a gangster is. I was under the impression someone who's a gangster is someone who's in a gang. I guess some gangs can be good. All right. Brian, I still don't see this hand history you typed in. It obviously didn't pop up. Brian, figure out a way to type it in next time. Or send me an email, support. Oh, here it goes. Under the gun, limps. You're in middle position when jacks. You make it 2.5 big blinds. Make it more. Do not make it 2.5 big blinds. You're pricing him in. Gets back to under the gun who shoves for 26 big blinds. You call. Yeah, I mean, the limp shove is always crappy for you because the opponent's range should be very, very polarized. And if not polarized, it's very strong. 8 very easily could be a fold, depending on how often you've seen this player limp. You say he's new to the table. Sure is a tough spot, but this is a situation where there's no math to say it's right or wrong. You have to figure out what the opponent's shoving range is, right? If your opponent's shoving range is very wide, it's an easy call. If he's very tight, it's an easy fold. It really is that simple. So if you don't know, you have to estimate. So what's your estimation? Does he look like he's going to be someone who's nitty and is only going to do it with the nuts? I don't know. It's up for you to tell me. Let's see. Poker is a long-run game, yes. It means I'm killing it. Again, I've yet to murder any human. Maybe one day. Definitely need more volume. That really is it. I mean, anyone who's complaining about short-term variance is just not putting in enough volume. People who say it's like poker is bingo, or they're playing a bingo-style poker, or that like short stack play is all luck, they don't understand that you have a gigantic edge. Say you have a 10 big blind stack and you can make half a big blind to hand. Obviously you can't. Say you make 0.1 big blind to hand. That's 1 big blind per orbit. Okay? What if a big blind is worth a starting stack? It means you're making a starting stack in orbits, on average. The starting stack is like a $100 buy in turn. You're making $100 every 9 hands. That's incredible. You can't make that much money anywhere. So, you're going to have big swings. Big swings are fine. Oh, you said this guy only had 12 big blinds when he shoved. That'd be an easy call then. Sorry. If you limp shoves for 12 big blinds, yeah, no problem. Because then you have to put in 10 to win 25? Yeah, easy call. Unless the opponent's just, again, super nitty. When do you lead multi-way in a limp pot from the blinds? Probably more than you would think. That's the question for poker coaching, right? I believe I've actually done a webinar on that where I asked the people exactly that question and gave my answer. So we're not going to answer it. Go to pokercoaching.com, sign up for a free trial, and go watch it. Ordinary man, depends on what's happening. If someone jams on top of you, you're asking, would I call it off for 25 big blinds? No. Clinton says, to be fair, you couldn't grasp this concept either 5 years ago. 1.5 years of study and playing 20,000 hands a week online puts things into perspective. That is absolutely right. All right, I'm going to go. I have to do my webinar now for the Inner Circle. Again, you can sign up right now. pokercoaching.com/inner circle. We're going to be doing a webinar discussing the differences between 15 big blind play and 25 big blind play. And believe it or not, there are a lot of differences. So go to that. Enjoy yourselves. Louis Philippe says, thanks for my time. Hard work pays dividends. I do my best. Everyone have a great day. Louis Philippe is one of our success stories at pokercoaching.com. He just always plays and wins, it seems. Must be nice to always win when you play. All right. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. I will be back on Wednesday. As far as I know, there's a chance I won't be. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be back on Wednesday for another little coffee. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Be nice. And help somebody out. I'll talk to you later.